Welcome back. Today is Monday, March 1st. I didn't check the calendar because it's an easy one. Let's go, baby. If you're new here, what's up, new kid? This is a channel dedicated to beginners and intermediate traders. If you're a beginner trader and you have no idea what technical analysis is, I'm here to help. If you've gone on the TikToks, if you've gone on the Snapchats, if you've gone on other YouTubers, that's great. A lot of things that you may be wondering is how the hell do they see what they see? Well, I'm here to show you, right? There's no BS here. Ask anybody. We just do this every single day, really consistent. We do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and you learn something new every time you watch this channel. If you're an intermediate trader and you have a bunch of really good positions and blue chips, you have a lot of good positions, you know what you're doing, but you want to diversify, I'm here to help, right? There's a bunch of mid caps that I call that you guys then see a week later on the big movers in the morning, or they become blue chips, right? I called FCell $2. I called NIO at $5. I called RIDE at $3, right? Not on myself, but again, that's what we do here. We focus those kinds of things so we can get in before the movement. That's what we're going to do here today. If this content interests you, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and bell notification, ding ding, all that kind of good stuff. I do appreciate it. If you want premium services, I'm not leaving YouTube because one, I'm not the kind of guy. I like to FaceTime. I like to feel important because I have low self-esteem. No, and two is because it is a pandemic. I'm not going to pull anything back until we really see folks feeling better. Then I may do 3 videos a week or only 4. I'm going to take some time off, right? Because I have my community. I have that kind of thing. I've proven I know what I'm doing. So for now, I'll be on here every single time I can. With that being said, though, if you enjoy this content enough, there is a Discord in the description box down below. There's plenty of options. The Discord is pretty cheap. I have 5 spots open for VIPs who want to have coffee hour with me and want to talk for a half hour a month directly with me. I answer all the questions you have. We usually go over time. That's totally fine. And then today, I even added a mega VIP section. I had a few folks who wanted to give more and get more. And I can go into that for just a second. But again, if you are not interested, that's totally fine. But let's look at that real quick. So we can see we just have our $5 tip. You have your $25 in the Discord. I do all these things, including I do live calls now. So all these things are there. There's 5 spots open for those of you who want to do all that. Plus, meet me for a half hour of coffee and talk. And then there's also the new one for those who also want to be extra good and extra enjoy my stuff. And again, if no one ever joins us, I don't really care. But I give you 2 20-minute meetings instead of 1. 3 times a week, you can give me a ticker or 2, and I'll do a whole YouTube channel episode just for you, right? So all the folks who throw in like 2 tickers each, I'll have 10 of them. I'll go over each of them just like this video, but exclusively by your pickings. I'm also going to have a new journal I'm going to update, and it's going to be up to the minute updated with the import links updated constantly, and it's going to be super involved. I mean, I'm going to work on that, but that's going to be another thing. Then also I'll be sharing all my watch list, what I add, what I take off, everything will be available to you there as well. So again, 3 different levels, and if you really want to look into it, again, we do live charts here, we do all the calls here, everyone be talking, having a good time, everyone's talking about all their funny stuff. Some things that we do as well, the daily watch list, we have these super cute, super swagged out newsletters, and so like yesterday's, we talked all about what the terms mean. ACCO was up looking really good. You have all the articles here. ALVR with price targets are drawn on there in the update. ELP, everything's on here. All the stuff you may want to see in depth to talk about. All the ETFs we're watching. Then we even get into the last week's calls that are still viable. We even talk about the ones that are not viable. So again, plenty of stuff on there. Do you want to watch it and go into it? Great. If you don't, great. I don't really care. What I care about is quality. If you enjoy quality, this YouTube's quality, that's quality. And again, there's absolutely no pressure. I'm not that kind of salesman. I really just enjoy what I'm doing, and I want to add some more folks who are into this, into the community, right? It's all about quality. Every single ticker is going to have a small intro screen of 4 to 5 seconds. Pause the video when you see the stonk guy. Pause it. Go into TradingView, go into TOS, go wherever you want to go into. I want you to chart this yourself. I want you to find supports, resistances, patterns, trend lines, and any kind of candle setups that you may see. Turn on your indicators. I use 10, 50, 200 EMA line, RSI, stochastic vortex. If whatever you see, think about it, and then listen to me talk about it. If what you're thinking lines up with what I'm saying, you're learning something. Trust me, it's much better for this to be educational as well as informational. With that being said, with no further ado, let's get into it. So above me, we can see our really good list. That's our poop list, and our other list, the week's calls right here. These are okay ones. These are intermediate plays for sure. But all beginner plays are going to be right here. What a great day. You'll love to see when my master watch list, I'll go by just by percent change. We called more from a while ago, months ago, so I'm glad it finally popped off. A lot of these you may recognize. AQST, that X-ray. Actually, we had called PGGX. We had some fun shorting it. Now it's going up. NBEV. We just moved. That was recently called, making great moves today. NVTA made great moves. NIU recovered well. PDT did well. All I'm getting at is that I love these kinds of days because all my friends are making some monies. The bad side is this. I have this to work with without doing extra scanning and going to my other lists. And even then, my lists above my supports are also just absolutely making imprinting today. I remember when I bought Ride at $3. I miss those days. Come back to me. Then FSL at $2. Come back to me. So that's really good that we have a lot of money being made. The only issue is that it's hard for me to find things. What's cool, though, if you look at our list from these last 5 days, this is not exactly like a big flex. It's not hard for a lot of people to do this today. But you can see every single ticker but 3. And USAS, which is on today's list, is green. Everything's been completely printing this whole week. So we waited, and we finally got rewarded for today's patience. So great look. You like it a lot. You'll also notice on my screen is a different header around us. I did move some things. I upgraded some things. You can see below me all my links. You want to check those out. And then also I changed it to green, hoping that the red border may have been the issue. We don't mess with things that mess with karma, right? So we updated it. So that's really cool. So let's get into it, with all my blathering aside. First is AXU. AXU, we had actually called over here a few times, and then we called it over here, and we're going to do it again. This what's cool, though, is that this trend line, if we were over here when we were first calling it, we're actually over here. While we're over here watching it, right, this trend line was not existent. It wouldn't have worked this way. But since we've been watching it over time, we can see it's not working out. Will I be shocked? Will I be shocked if it comes down to like 257? No. Will I be even more shocked if there's some red days coming up and it drops down to like 239? I won't be. But I'll be equally not as shocked if right now it's showing life. If it does move up another 10-15% over the next few weeks, it makes some really good moves. It's below the POC. You want to see the POC above it. That's a strong resistance, which sounds counterintuitive, but this is also where most volume takes place. A lot of buying and selling happens here. So the price wants to be gravitationally pulled towards the POC. So even worst case, if that happens, 7%, it's a good gain. But it's a great trend line. It's showing higher lows across the board here. I'm still not out of the woods thinking that's a horizontal channel. So if it's a horizontal channel, we will see it drop a little bit farther. But this is a very strong support right beneath it. So again, in this kind of market, you may be thinking we're out of the woods. We're not. And I don't want anyone to get their, be like, oh yeah, we're done. I wouldn't say that. So you're risking about 3 or 4% right now, which is fine. But for 15-20%, that's a good 4-to-1 play. So AXU, it is in fact a gold, silver metals. It is attached to those. So make sure that the futures for gold, silver metals looks good. Let's check the indicators. So what's cool is I don't look at these before the video. I look at the 200 EMA line sometimes on a hard day. I got to look and find some value. But usually the EMA lines, Vortex, Stock, RSIs, all turn off while I find these so you can see what I see in real time. So both EMA lines have been broken. They will be resistances moving forward. You need to keep that in mind, and that's going to be coupled with the POC. So to think that the price is going to just all of a sudden blast through all threes with no problem, it's a bit concerning. I would definitely consider it breaking above the 200, and what's it going to do? Retest. If that retest doesn't live, we're going to have a problem. But you can see when it breaks above both EMA lines, it takes off. So if you want to wait for these to come down farther, that's fine. Right? If you want to play that as an EMA crossover, you want to wait for it to cross both, that's fine. But I think this is a great value nonetheless. You want to play that, also very, very valid. We can see that it doesn't get oversold often. Once, it would have made money. But again, be dynamic. Around 35 is a fine price. It's down here. Does the RSI follow the price action, though? And it seems pretty good. It seems to be following it fairly well. And again, on descensions and ascensions, it's not always the best indicator, so it looks pretty good, though. The stochastic is super low, and again, it's showing some life. You see a lot of times it comes up, comes back, and takes off. Comes up, comes back, takes off. Comes up, comes back. So again, this is in pattern with making a big move. Vortex doesn't get much lower than this. And when it does go red, you can see it's a very, very, very short periods of time. So I think we should see some green soon. AXU 10 out of 10 setup. Have a smart stop loss. It is $2.67. It is a penny stock. So this thing can, if there's earnings on the horizon that I don't see, there's anything bad happening, it could tank like ENV did today. So be aware of it. Make sure you have a stop loss just in case. Next is BAND, B-A-N-D, and this is a really beautiful uptrend. Very similarly to AXU, could this become a horizontal channel play? I wouldn't be shocked. Just because we have once, twice, 3 times it's come down to here. Now last time, it didn't reach that far. So there's a good chance it may not reach that far. But we're going for higher lows, since up here, higher lows. You could technically see it come all the way down another 5% to keep that kind of pattern and rhythm and keep it going. So I wouldn't be overly surprised if it breaks here. But again, we have a very strong trend line. That's great. We have our support. That's great. Worst case, you can give it 2% room to move around. If it breaks, you call it a day. If it holds down there, you call it a day. The big thing is you can see earnings just happened, right? And it was negative 0.06. It's not that huge of a deal, but that's where you got this from, right? Earnings completely crushed it. Over here, earnings completely crushed it. So do I think it's going to come back? Sure. I think you may be bag holding if you mess up the intro. If you try and guy here and it comes all the way down here and you are down 13%, there's a high probability you'll be bag holding if it does crash. So you want to wait for it to show some life. We have a little baby one here. Is that is this going to outweigh all of this action? No. Right, but we can see, some consolidation happen. We see one big green one. You could be convinced to go long. This is a great setup, though. Worst case, again, becomes a horizontal channel. If it does die tomorrow, we're just going to wait. And it comes down to, this 145. We buy in, make a full move. From here, though, easily can see 20%. You're risking 2 or 3. It's a great setup. Let's check the indicators. So it just broke both EMA lines. It seems to respect the 50 a lot. It's only tested the 200 a few times, and it does, again, that's a much stronger resistance, but the 50 seems to be where it makes most of its moves off of. I wouldn't wait for a crossover just because it's going to take forever to come down. You could see when it really dipped down here, it took almost 3 weeks. So if you want to wait, sure. If you're in a lot of positions, your money's tied up, you want to wait a few weeks, could be a great opportunity for you to wait for a crossover. But I think value enough is here. And again, in this type of market, and I'm stressing it again, we're not out of the woods yet. You should never be like, we had one green day, it's over. And then you get smacked tomorrow and you become very, very sad. So again, just with the trend line being at the bottom and a support, you're wasting 2 or 3%, liberally, and you're going to be okay. Oversold would have made money, not temporarily would have made money. Oversold would have made money, and again, you probably would have wanted to get down lower, but that's a good sign. Would have made money overall. So we're down here again. That's a great sign. Stochastic is stupid low. That's great. Vortex has been down here for a while, and again, when it gets down here, it takes its sweet old time. Last time. 6 days. This one over here was a while. 16 days. This one over here, 12 days. So it takes about 6 to 10 days. We're on day 7, so we're getting there. And again, I don't mean like you won't see any green over here. You can see right where it bottomed out, it reversed that. Right over here when it started to bottom out, right about there, it reversed that. Over here, bottomed out, started the reversal. So, we're trying to get to that bottom of the bull area. BAND is a great setup. I think we should see a lot of good moves here. I like it a lot. Next is BRMK. This is definitely a really pretty channel up. Let's duplicate this just to see what kind of patterns we can see. You move this on up and you can see, okay, it's not really a great pattern right there. It's not terrible. Let's go from over here and work backwards. Come over here, we can see, all right, maybe we have kind of like a wedge is happening. So make sure you connect all your lines, like probably here and over. You want to connect all your lines like that, and you want to temper your expectations. You're not going to just be like, well, this last move over here was 14%. I should expect that. No, you shouldn't. You should expect maybe 5 conservatively, hopefully 7. And again, you may be like, that's not worth even my time. Well, if you're going to buy in right now, you're going to be risking at most 2.5%. That's 3-to-1 ratio, close to 4-to-1 on a really good move. That, again, is what we're going for. If you're a 9-to-5 trader, it's a great setup because you're not going to be stressed as much. Last time we had earnings, it dropped down and got pretty volatile and it took off. Over here, it dropped down, but it came back. Same over here. It dropped down hard, so make sure you know what we're talking about. You can come over and see that the earnings actually was positive, but again, still suffering. And if you can see some bouncing here, it does consolidate. See how long this took? 7 days. See how long this took? 7, 5, 5, then we're in day 4. So you have a day or two to really make up your mind. It may come down, but again, we're still in value. You know, the POC has consolidation. It's very gravitational. See this? It goes back and forth very, very quickly on this area. So you may see it come up just to come back down. But again, it's a great value. Again, you're going to get 4 or 5 easy percent, maybe 6, long-term hold even more, and you're risking 1 or 2. Great setup. Let's check the indicators. So it's a nice 200 EMA play that makes it even more strong here. Get rid of everything. We can see it breaks it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it comes back every time. So again, every time it's come down, you may want to wait for a 200 EMA cross. If you want to wait for that to perfectly cross over, it's not a bad idea to give it another day or two, right? And the 50, of course, is going to be a resistance. Okay, it does seem to have no problem getting above it, at least consolidating at it. It hasn't yet been stopped crossing it. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. But if you want to wait for a cross above it, retest it, not a bad plan either. RSI is low. That's great. Stock is dummy low. That's great. Vortex just went red. That makes sense with the sell-off, though. And it doesn't seem to stay down here too long at all, right? And when it does, it seems to kind of consolidate. So you may want to look into this. It's definitely a good 9 to 5 stock, but you're definitely going to have the possibility that it's going to consolidate for a while, and that may get annoying if we do get in a green market to have your money tied up, and that makes 4% when other stocks that we saw like X-Ray making 15, right? So weigh your risk versus reward, what you want to do, but BRMK is a great setup. So GAU is definitely a cheaper penny stock. It's only $1.10 right now, and some folks really enjoy that. Let's zoom out. It's always important. It's always important to zoom out on penny stocks to get a full picture and encapsulation of it. This has been lower, so if you think, oh, it can't get much cheaper, hell yeah, it can. It can definitely get down to the 77 cents, and it can even get down to 43 cents. So I think that you're out of the woods because it's had, been tanking. You're sadly mistaken. But it has been getting higher. It's been kind of getting slowly higher and higher. Consolidated, took off, consolidating, smaller one. So it's still really good looking. Even here, but just be sure that you have in the back of your head that it can get lower. What's nice though is you're risking at most, if you want to get confident, 5%. If it gets down here and it holds a candle, see how these both wicked? If it holds a candle this low, I'd be a bit concerned. But even then, you're super, super low. Easily can see 6% on one move, closer hopefully to 9 or 10%. A full move will get you about 16. Right, so 5 to 10 to 16. If you're a penny stock kind of person, it's a great setup. I'm not the biggest fan of penny stocks, right? But this is a very clear area of support. It's just going sideways. And if it does it again, it's done it a bunch of times, though. I mean, it's definitely done it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times now. Should do it again, hopefully. Let's check the indicators. Both EMA lines will be resistances. If you want to wait for a crossover, both you can, but you will get faked out, right? Oh, I crossed over the 50, got the 200. Hell yeah. Crap. Go crap. So I wouldn't exactly wait for a crossover. I wait for value, and that's where we're at right now. It may, I give it another day or two, right? It takes its time down here. The difference between you buying it here and buying it on the next candle up is 2%. You want to risk that kind of reward for confirmation of strength, that's fine too, right? It just comes down to what you want to do. RSI is low, stock is low, Vortex is dummy low. So again, it's a really good setup. It's just that this is more volatile. You don't want to see the markets take a huge crap and then you are on the wrong end of it. So GAU, a good setup. It's just cheaper than most, but I like it a lot. Next is LAUR, Lorette Education Inc. Again, I'm assuming this is an educational online program. If so, that's a good time to buy one. So it's looking pretty good. It just had earnings. And what did it do? We're doing so good as a company. Hell yeah. No. So it took off and then it crashed. So every reaction is an overreaction. Last time this happened, it took off really well. And even then, it corrected back down. And over here, it ran up and it corrected back down. It ran down. I want to see it come back up, hopefully. Right in our area of support, we have our channel here. Your support line may vary. This is definitely one that has a lot of different areas. You can say that's right here. That's definitely fine. You can say it's probably right here. You can say it's all the way down here. I'm going to keep in mind where it's at for this because it's a zone. Anywhere in here is totally fine. So worst case, it crashes. Okay, you lost 4%. That's fine. But you can easily gain off this move, easily 10, a full move, closer to 12 or 15%. And this is a good long-term stock. If this keeps going up like this, it's running up nicely, it should be a really good turnout for us. So I like it a lot, LAUR. And again, let's duplicate this real quick to see if these line up pretty well. So you can consider this a a channel, but we need to see a full move. If that doesn't happen, it's definitely a wedge of some sort. Maybe it's going to be a triangle. You can attach these resistances and say they line up almost perfectly for a reason. If we're going to get a triangle happening, that's totally fine. So it looks pretty good. Let's check the indicators. So it just broke the 200. Let's get rid of all the stuff real quick. So it just broke the 200, and what's it do? It comes back. So let's not freak out yet. Okay, you want to wait for it to retake it. It's not a bad idea at all, right? If you want to wait for it to come back over, not stupid. But this is definitely a good area of value. They do have resistances right above it. So you want to wait for it to kind of tap that and kind of, move sideways and take over. It's not a bad idea at all. RSI could be lower, but again, it's compared to like these gigantic sell-offs. So I'm not necessarily upset that it's all the way up here. Stochastic could be a tad bit lower, and it looks like it's making a divergence from here and up to here. Oh, nope, wrong spot. Well, from here. Nope, that's correct. We're good. Never mind. I got confused. That's definitely close to one, but it's too close. So no divergences yet. Vortex could be a tad bit lower, but it's been down here for a while. And I think it may take a little bit of time to really turn back around. So it may take 4 or 5 days, but LAUR, a great value. Once it breaks the 200 and goes long, you should see easily 5 or 6% profits pretty simply. Next is NG. Again, it's at $8, but it's at the bottom of this channel. Has it had previous highs or lows? NG has come from the bottom. It didn't do too well. Must have gotten some great news because it's doubled in price in the last 2 years. So this is a very strong support area. If we zoom in, I hate when the red lines come up. We zoom in, we can see that possibly we're going to see lows of $7.92, which is 40 cents away, which is a good chunk. So you may see all the way down here, right, it bouncing off and stuff. So I wouldn't freak out if it comes down here. So let's give it a day or two, right? But this is definitely, 3% will be your stop loss or 4%. Worst case, it just had earnings, so it ran up and now it's coming back down. We duplicate these lines, that's definitely a good resistance. We can see that they almost line up perfectly. So it is a downward channel. Do you really want to buy stocks like this? Kind of. But again, this was a nice run down. Now we're towards the bottom. At the bottom, it takes off. So I don't want to see it in a downward channel, but I also like where it's at value-wise. And if it does come up, even 10% hits the POC, you get in, you get out, you get your 10%, you call it a day, right? So it's not a perfect setup due to the definite looks of a downward channel, but being the bottom of that channel, it looks okay. Let's check the indicators. So it's dummy low across the board. Vortex stock is dull. That's definitely low. I wouldn't wait for a crossover just because it's so far away. If you want to wait for the 50, that's one thing, but the 200 is too far away. We're hoping to get in at the bottom here. Let's get at the bottom and see if we can get a nice 20%, 30% move over a few days, right? Super easy read. It's pretty low risk just because it's so low here. If it does break down, we zoom out to the 10-year, see its previous lows, and play off those supports. But NG looks really good. Next is OI. I called it in the Discord saying it's on high alert, and I'm glad I haven't bought it yet just because I know it has a tendency at the POC to go back and forth, right? So we have a tendency of doing this. See that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and we just got here. So there's a good chance it may come down a little bit farther. That's what I'm waiting on, right? If I do see it come down maybe to like 11.49, I'll definitely pull the trigger then. So I'm just waiting to see what it's going to do. I think it has a good chance of coming down a little bit lower. It was an earnings play, so it definitely got smashed because of earnings. Last time I had earnings, it got smashed. Last time I had earnings over here, it ran up, and then it got smashed. So will it come back? I'm sure. Last time it happened, we had green, and it took off. We had green, then it took off. So it may take off here if I miss the move. I will be complacent knowing that I missed the move, waiting for a better value in this type of market. That's totally fine with me. I want to see if this can come all the way down and tap this line, so I'll give it a day. Right? If you do buy it now, I wouldn't worry too much. I think it's a great setup. I'm just waiting to see what it's going to do tomorrow and Wednesday. If it really takes off and breaks above this resistance, I may pull a trigger and go for a day trade or just do a really, really tight stop loss and see what it's going to do. But OI is a great setup. Let's check the indicators. So we can see if we clear everything off, it does break the 200 and it has always come back the last 6 months. If you're going to wait for a 200 crossover, that's not stupid. Even waiting for a 200 and a 50 crossover is not stupid. It's definitely going to retest. See how it, retest. Come up, retest, retest. So if it does that and you buy in and it goes green, then it goes red, I wouldn't freak out because you know it's probably going to be doing a retest. Look at the 10-year. Let's see. You can see it's been coming down, and now it's coming back up, so that's a good sign. Now, you can easily be like, well, we take this long here and go, oh, it's actually lining up really well for, yeah, take that in consideration. But again, that's so far out, no one really checks that on the retail side. So super low, good value. RSI is low, stock's low, Vortex is low, but they're all starting to point north, which shows that a reversal may be coming soon. So I like that for buying it now. But again, I'm going to wait a day or two. But OI is a great setup. So if you're a beginner, I suggest you either stop the video, which I know, it just destroys my heart that my ad revenue gets crushed. No. Or B, you switch your mind and you switch your thinking. I do not want you having 20, 30, 40 plays on your plate. I want you to have 5 or 6 really good ones that you chose over a week or two of watching my videos. So either stop the video, or I want you to watch these purely as educational. Do not plan on trading these. And again, most of my secondary lists do make more money, but they also are prone to lose more money. So again, if you're a beginner, pause it, stop it, or change your frame of thinking. Intermediate traders, let's check out some more stuff. So if you're new here, new kid, we'll see that the indicators will stay on the whole time just for expediency purposes. I'm sure any intermediate trader can just check all 6 of these and go about their day and not watch what they really want to. First is AMH. AMH is definitely one that likes to break the 200. Has it broken the 200? Well, no, but it's also making a double bottom. So it may, come down a little bit farther and show some green. You can make it easy 5 or 6% on a good 2 or 3 day hold. It also may come back down and test the 200. Now, I don't know which one it's going to do yet. I'm more prone to say it's going to test the 200. Given the trend line here, I think it's going to do that. And again, RSI is low, stock low, Vortex is crossed. A little bit more mucky of a play, right? It's a little bit more, we're not really sure yet what it's going to do. It needs another day or two. Let this bad boy marinate. If it does come down to like 30.25, this will be an A1 setup. Just for now, watch it. But AMH is a great setup nonetheless. EVH is bouncing right off the 50. And again, when it does that, this one took 6 days. It went, and took its sweet old time. So we're right here now. So it may take some time. But off the 50 with the support area right here, the previous resistance, previous support right here, you're risking what? 4%, but in a good full move, it keeps running up. Can easily see 10, 15, 20%. It's a lot like Ally. Looks like that very much. It looks like Cake almost off the 50. It really looks like Cat off the 50, Rey Mysterio off the top belt. No, so it's definitely looking pretty good. It's definitely a channel still. So stock is low. RSI is fair, but it's running up. So why would they get oversold on a run up? But you can see right here, it reverses and the Vortex is holding just fine. So I think it's a good pickup. It had earnings, which could really throw a wrench in this. So let's wait. But EVH is a great 50 EMA bounce play. Super easy to read. Low risk, high reward. KTRA, it's a really nice play. I was watching it over here. You all may remember. I was like, it looks pretty good. And I called it over here, and then kerchoo. And then I was like, let's all get out. And then I was like, oh, I missed this. Kerchoo. So we missed the second move, but we got the first one, which was, it was a good 80% run. That was pretty cool. So it's bouncing off the 200, 200 right here. Looking pretty good. And I think, again, it'd be a higher one if it had some green here. I'm not quite convinced yet that's going to bounce super well. So if it may take a day or two, but I see some green tomorrow and starts doing a nice little U shape, it'll definitely be a great one. It's super volatile. You can lose your whole week if you really goof this one up. Like if this were to tank on you easily, 15-20% could be lost. So it's definitely an intermediate play. I trust those who are intermediate traders and make the right decision. But KTRA has been good for us before. Can't do it again. Let's watch that 200 bounce. Next is Safe. Safe was a really good one previously. I really enjoyed it. I called it before, and I haven't called it in months just because there's no shape. I have no idea what it's doing. Now, it's definitely clear bouncing off the 50, but there's no real value, right? Do I want to invest right here? Do I want to invest my money for a month to make, 9%? Well, I guess some folks would value 0.3% returns a day. It's definitely not bad. It's better than red days. But again, is it worth the opportunity cost? So right here, we're actually at a good value. There's a good chance it may run up 10, 15, 20% in a few weeks. That makes it worth it. It's a slow burner. It's a slow roller. RSI is dummy low. Stock's dummy low. Vortex is dummy low. I'm sure this has a very high chance of reversing. But again, is it really worth your time if this market does pop off to hold a stock that may make you 15% in a month and a half or 2 months, right? So safe, a great setup, do your research, but again, opportunity cost, is it really worth it with this kind of volatility? Next is SQ. Sadly, SQ has already taken off a little bit, but here's our play. So let's take off our studies real quick. I don't do edits for that. Here's our play. It gapped up. Now, it did fill it today, so here's what we got to hope for. This is too high for you to purchase into. If we see some red, you're going to want to buy in the pullback. So if it does go red tomorrow and drops 1% or 2%, you can buy in and ride all the way back up. But my issue is, for a beginner trader, this is way too much risk to take on, and the reward's about equal to what the risk is going to be. So again, if you're an intermediate trader, and I trust you, if we do see a pullback, we see a nice pullback, 2 or 3%, it pulls back nicely, we can buy in. But again, if you're not a seasoned trader, I would not trust you to make the right decision. So again, make sure you are a good seasoned trader. A really good comeback king pattern though. Sold high, sold, bought, sold, bought, sold, bought. So you may be waiting on this one. But SQ otherwise is a great comeback king pattern in the future. And I call it USAS yesterday. I'm just bringing it back to your attention. It is showing life. It did tank off. It's showing some life. There are earnings coming up in a week. Will we see a run up? Maybe. Will we see a run down? Maybe. So it is at $2.52. Zoom out. We can see it's had lower lows. It's been lower before. So we're not going to bet the horse that, oh, well, I can see since last June it's been fine. Well, you're wrong. So let's not freak out. Let's not bet the farm on it. But again, if it does hold well here today, it's a really good value play. This one needs a stop loss. If earnings are bad, it will shit the bed, and you're going to come crying to me. I'm not going to hear it. So make sure you have a stop loss. Make sure you watch USAS's earnings reports, because it could be bad and you will get burned. And there you have it. That is our 7 really, really good plays and our 6 additional intermediate plays. Again, if you are a beginner intermediate trader that enjoys this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. I do appreciate it. If you enjoy this content enough, all premium stuff, there is a Discord. I opened up a new tier today, and I increased the VIP section by 5. So if you want to get to meet me on Zoom, why wouldn't you, right? I'm totally a cool guy. I'm not, psychotic at all. Meet me on Zoom. The new one, that's a mega VIP package. Check it out. I talked about at the beginning of the video. A bunch of cool stuff as well. Again, I'm not pushing it. If you want to join, dope. If you don't want to join, dope. I'm just happy to have you. Again, thank you for the 4,000 subscribers in 3 months. It means a lot. If you guys need anything, please let me know. Comment down below what you guys need, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.